Hexmerch.com, guys. I like this one. The pulse. It's your boy Jim Rat Crypto. This is Crypto in the Morning, fam. How is everybody doing today? Let's check the comments for a second. It's a weekend. We're all chilling. We got RH Max in here. What's up, brother? Footsteps. Good to see you. Illuminati Naughty. T-Bird. Good morning, fam. Hope everyone has a positive weekend. Yeah, everything is great. Right. No pain, no gain. That's right, guys. Hex Hog. Great to see you. Let's go, fam. Why leave a like later when you can leave one right now, guys? Leave a like. Leave a comment. I was on with Crypto Orca last night, Crypto Curricula, on the Crypto Happy Hour. And we were talking about hot dogs and deep dish pizza. And I was hungry. And I ate 2 hot dogs after that, which are not good for you. Share this out on Twitter, guys. Yeah, share this out while we're here, guys. I know Big Pep's stream, and I love Big Pep, and I wish I could watch his stream, but my OCD just forces me on that 11 a.m. spot. Guys, KS, Squid Lord, Illuminati, Tyrannosaurus Hex, everybody share this out. Let us know we're in here. Me and Sam are just going to be riffing for a little bit. He wants to talk about the Drip Network. I want to learn about the Drip Network. And he said that there's a little bit of manipulative marketing, which he's, that's not illegal. But it can get a little sticky when you're talking about, let's really look at these numbers, right? And that's kind of where he's getting at. Because I saw his tweet. He was kind of like, if you really, really look at these numbers, hold on one second. If you really look at these numbers, it doesn't add up compared to some of the value props in Sam's eyes. And I just want to learn, right? Like, I just want to learn. The Drip Network. People were giving me S in the comments for not knowing enough about the Lightning Network. And to those people, I've never researched it. So unless you want to call me and teach me about it, I'll be getting there when I can. Lightning Network is a very important topic, though. I think it's an extremely important topic, and I probably should get more to it. Guys, this is Crypto in the Morning. We're here every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern. Me and Sam were kind of talking in the background about doing some different kind of content, just in general, maybe in the future. Really cool stuff. It's all fun, guys. This is so creative. It's so fun. I'm so glad to be here. All this like, oh my God, you're so wrecked because the money's down. I don't feel wrecked ever. I don't feel wrecked. How could you be wrecked if you're waking up every day? You have a place to live. You have a vehicle. And you have friends to talk to. To me, like, that's all you need. As long as you can pay your bills, of course. Guys, every day is an opportunity to be grateful and to get a little bit better. You got to be grateful. It's more of an action term. You got to remember where you're at. You got to think, because if you let your animal brain control you all the time, you won't understand how grateful you should be. And that's a really important mechanism in order to be better and more effective. If you're not grateful, period. If there's a guy in the room that's not grateful, in me, I'm like, I'll outwork you, smash you, spit on you, kill you. You'll never keep up with me because you complain when there's no reason to. There's just none. Like, we can go to the beach. Sam can just go to the beach, chill. He's free. What the heck? Freedom? I never thought I'd have it, and I have it now. So, guys, 1 minute, 9 seconds. Crypto in the Morning, DeFi proof. Biceps in the chat for DeFi proof. This is a banger.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hex and I'm making it stay. Got me some hedron, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim ready sent me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning, 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 crypto in the morning.
What's up, man? How you doing today? This morning is a beautiful, beautiful morning. I got up around 5 something this morning, did my meditation. I took my girlfriend to the airport. I've already run some errands, got a video filmed, a deep dive on this brand new network called the Drip Network. Sounds kind of compelling that you could earn 1% ROI per day, but there's a little bit more to it than that. And I am stoked for today. I'm stoked for you, bro. You have a lot of ideas for what you're going to be doing going forward in social media and online. So I'm excited for you. I'm excited to see what you build going forward. We also have a super chat here. You want to say hi to Funding Jim?
Hold on one second real quick. Funding Jim's in my DMs right now. There are opportunities surrounding all of us. Bears are where skills are honed. Exactly, dude. I feel like I'm almost so grateful I have 2 years to hone my, or whatever the amount of time is for the bear. Like, it's so great. What an opportunity. Me and Sam are nothing but giddy that we have actual time, because what were me and Sam missing? Kind of time. We missed out on some stuff. We were a little bit behind. I think me and Sam could have been a little bit earlier, but now we know, right?
Way earlier.
Me too. Like me too, him too. Like we should have been a little more eyes open. We won't let it happen again. He knows that. I know that. We're going to be more open-minded. Thank you so much, Funding Jim. Keep grinding. I'm actually inviting Funding Jim on. So after we talk about the drip, Funding Jim's going to come on here and talk to us, have a little back and forth. He's always welcome on the show. He's a heavy hitter.
Also, you guys, just on a security note here, Funding Jim, good dude, great dude, awesome, enjoys the conversations. Pay attention, because the same thing happens to GRC, and I guarantee it is either happening with me that I'm not aware of, or it will happen. There are people who have fake Funding Jim Instagram accounts. Bro, I was talking to Funding Jim this morning because I wanted to see what they would come out with, and I was going to share the screenshots. And the account has already been deleted. So there are fake accounts out there perpetually trying to sell you trading shit or trying to expose you to all sorts of different stuff.
Mine too. They'll send you links too. They will first of all tell you to block me on Instagram. They'll tell you to block me, and they'll send you links. They'll do everything they can to do whatever they're trying to do, guys. If you don't understand about those kind of scams, you're very behind, and you are going to get hurt very badly. So you must understand, every time someone DMs you on a social media platform, you have to check out their profile. You have to look at their mutual friends. Look at the date of the first picture they put. If it's from yesterday, it's not the right person. Okay. If you get scammed because of a fake account, you are not ready to be in crypto, but you need to learn. You need to learn right now that these exist. I have 5 or 6 accounts right now that are scamming everyone that they can. And I can't even post about it anymore because it's just like,
that is a great tip there. And that's exactly what I do. So when you check out an account, right? And so I've got Funding Jim. He's like, hey man, how's your trading going? And I was like, oh, it's going really good. Are you making some money, to try to just elicit his, pitch for whatever scam he's trying to pull? And one of the things you can do to check to see if an account is real, right? The easiest way, in my opinion, to do this is, if it's on Instagram, other profiles can be different, but if it's on Instagram, go click on their profile and then scroll to the bottom of their posts and see how long ago it was posted. If they've got 147 posts and it was all done in the last 3 days, there's a decent chance that fucker is lying to you and it's a scam, right? Just go to their profile, scroll all the way down. And if they've all been done in the last week to 2 weeks, that account is probably a fake account that is just there to gather information and or scam people. And we're at the beginning stages. Like, this is going to continue. So we're going to continue highlighting this kind of stuff, because as new people get adopted into crypto, we need to make these people aware of this. Because what ends up happening is you have people get into something. It happens in the supplement industry. If there's things like ephedra or other things that could be very beneficial, I think DMP could be very beneficial if it was used intelligently, right? You have these things, and then you have idiots.
I hope no one knows what that is.
Hopefully nobody knows what that is, but and don't use it if you.
Why is that the only one? Like, there's so many drugs you could have said. There's 100.
This is the first one. It's like the most taboo thing you could possibly say. And it was like the first thing.
No one knows what it is. Never, no doctors here, never do stuff.
And okay, so but the point is, you get people into something that has a lot of potential for a lot of different reasons, and you have idiots involved, right? So why would really, in addition to lobbyists, in addition to special interests, why is another reason bad legislation gets passed? Because you have vocal clowns who get involved with something and lose all their money, and then, oh, this needs to be regulated. This needs to be regulated because I'm a dumbass and gave out my seed phrase to people that stole all of my money. And they said they were working for GRC, and that person's got a good brand, and they're stealing my money, right? And then that's how dumb policies get put in place, idiotic policies get put in place, regulations get put in place, because then the special interests and the lobbyist groups have ammo to amplify your story.
We should wait for Funding Jim to continue with, because he has great insight on this, and you do too, and it would just be a better part of the conversation. Let's get into the Drip network, Sam.
Ooh,
and I want you to tell me a little bit about Drip, what it is. I've heard some hexagons interact with it, so let's hear a little bit about what you've researched.
Dope. Okay, so the Drip network is cool. It's interesting. But before I say any, like, we get into this, by me saying it's cool, I'm definitely not endorsing you to put your money into it. And I don't have any money into it. I also don't plan on putting any money into it, but I do find it fun and interesting to learn how other projects are done, so that if I want to come out with my own token in the future, I can understand what crap looks like. And I don't want that, right? Okay. So this is basically 3 smart contracts. They have their swap, their faucet, and their reservoir. What are those things? Well, swap's just going to be like you're swapping from one to the other. This is on the Binance Smart Chain. So you can swap from BNB into Drip. Now,
is this just like a front end, like that you can use to interact with your wallet? Is more so decentralized?
Yep. But you could also do it on PancakeSwap if you. I checked. There's about $5 million worth of liquidity over there on Drip. Right.
So this it's separate liquidity on Drip. Yeah. Okay, so it's separate liquidity. It's not attached.
Well, here's the thing. It's not 100% clear on their site. It's not 100% clear. I don't know. Now, if you look at the thing called the Reservoir, this is LP. So this is liquidity providing. So you can provide liquidity with BNB for Drip. But think about this: like if you provide liquidity on PancakeSwap or Sushi or Uniswap, you can put money in and you earn fees, right? Well, with Drip, you put money in, you earn fees, but you can't get your money out.
All right. So I'm going to take my money off of Uniswap real quick in my mind. So I'm pulling liquidity from Uniswap. Okay. I want to make another play. Okay. I've been hearing about the Drip network a lot. I take my 100 grand, I put it into the Reservoir and start providing liquidity on the Binance Smart Chain. Okay. Through the Reservoir front end. You're saying that the liquidity or the bridge, there's an issue, or the taxes?
It's even worse. Well, I'm not going to say worse, but it is like that. So you put money in there and you're permanently locking your 100 grand. Yes, that's exactly the reaction I had. So you have 100 grand. You're like, I'm earning fees on Uniswap. This is cool, but I don't like Ethereum's fees. Let me. How else could I take this and earn more money? Let me think. Oh, there's this new network that I keep hearing popping up. It's called the Drip network. Let me take my money out of Uniswap v3 and pay those ridiculously high fees on Ethereum, and I'm going to bridge that over to Binance. I'm going to get some BNB. I'm going to go to this network called Drip, and I'm going to swap my BNB for Drip, and then I'm going to stake it in their protocol so I can earn some fees, right? Because it's brand new. Maybe
so when you earn the fees in Drip, you get Drip token.
Yes, or BNB.
And when you get in the rates different. So when that occurs, what's the problem? Why can't I sell or extract?
You're putting your money into a smart contract and locking it up permanently.
When's the lock button? Where does it say the amount of time? Like, what's the?
It says that in their white paper.
So if I did this and I didn't read their white paper, I would not assume it would be locked up, right?
Yes, that is correct.
I would just do it. So how many people have put their money in here and think got wrecked?
I did not go that far down that rabbit hole because it was a turnoff for me mentally already to lock up my shit permanently. Like I was just
Now
like,
we talk about Hex all the time, right? But I think it's pretty clear to people that they buy Hex and then you have the option to stake it, right? Like it's a little bit more like you have to type in the amount of days that you won't touch your Hex. So the way that RH kind of set it up and the devs, it seems like to me, it's like I knew that I was staking when I was staking. I might not have understand T shares too well, but like I knew when I typed in 365 days that that was going to be expected of me. At least it was easy to understand. Sam, would you kind of agree with that? That like if you bought Hex, even if this was early on, you would have had enough info between me and YouTube and Telegram maybe to figure that like your stuff was really being locked up.
yes. Oh,
And
yes.
this
No,
doesn't give you that automatic opportunity to learn that.
no, what does it say? You can earn 1% daily ROI, right? So this is the reservoir here. I got this up here so we can read through. Just if you want to read through this like section here,
Yeah.
that's on the
Reservoir helps provide long-term price support and even an ever-rising potential price floor as permanently locked liquidity is added to the drip token on the drip network's floor as permanently locked. Swap exchange. Not only are players able to receive perpetual BNB dividends using Reservoir, so they're saying so when you earn those BNB rewards, can you sell the BNB?
Yes. Yes.
So basically, they're giving you the opportunity to get a little fraction, just a hair, a little C hair of rewards by locking up all your hard-earned money. That is not good. We know that's called picking up pennies in front of a freight train, Sam. You know what I mean? Like you're scooping up pennies to hope you can make a living, but in reality, you're about to get floored.
Yes. And Alan, you want to say hi to Alan real quick?
I know drip. Basically, take your drip to the contract, and over the course of 365, you get more drip. It's not sustainable for what I know about it. So yeah, basically, it's like a very dumbed down system of distribution that has very manipulative speech within it. Therefore, I would say a good chunk of people that get to this point and put money in this protocol, probably a small amount of money, but the people that play around with this protocol probably get wrecked.
In the long and pretend like maybe it's cool. I don't know, because think about like locking liquidity. So what do we know about price performance is that people who hold things for the long term are the ones who benefit, right? If you build your business for 30 years and you actually build it and not just like get complacent and don't actually put in the effort to build your business, you're going to have a pretty big business after 30 years, right? And that means evolving, that means changing, that means pivoting, right? Throughout that process of 30 years. Well, the same thing, like if you buy assets, right? If you buy a house, right, there's a decent chance, assuming the government doesn't steal it from you, there's a decent chance, well, a high probability, in my opinion, that the house is going to be worth substantial doubles of what you paid for it, right? Well, in this reservoir thing, you could lock up your money and, you're earning every day, assuming that there's volume for this, assuming this project stays around, you earn money on it every day. So you're like locking up a perpetual like paycheck to come in. That's one way to think about it, to try to see it from a positive standpoint, but you don't have any flexibility to take it out, right? You don't have any.
Like if you knew exactly what you were doing and you had an S load of funds, like this isn't a horrible thing. But like if you don't, like you are messed up. If you have any bit of necessity towards that money and you put it into this network, you're wrecked. Like you need to be 100% dependent from your funds if you're using the drip network. Like it's only for fees. Now, so the liquidity just stays there forever, and basically they're just saying like you're going to earn fees forever.
Correct.
So yeah,
the main thing that I think people are going to be. The main thing, though, I think what people are going to be excited about, or like what their marketing is saying, is this paragraph here. If you want to read that,
the drip network, Faucet, is a low-risk, high-reward contract that operates similarly to a high-yield certificate of deposit by paying out 1% daily return Yeah, so I guess that verbiage all right there is true. Like it is true what they're saying, but that's not really the point. Their drip network's Faucet is a low risk, high reward contract that operates similarly to a high yield certificate of deposit, paying out 1%. And yes, in the real world, a 1% certificate of deposit is not even, that's not possible. So we know that is truthfully a high yield, that the words they're saying are true, but again, it's not crypto high yield.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, right? You read through this, and I think that this is why I personally, to me, this comes across as super deceptive. Like, because if you actually read through this, most people won't read through the white paper and won't actually run the math, which we will do in a minute. How long do you think it would take you to earn a 10% return
on my whole bag?
Yeah, so say you put in $1,000.
I would hope. I would assume from what I look at,
you're earning 1% a day.
A year.
Well, 1% a day, right? So in 10 days.
So let me do the actual math. You're earning 1% a day on 100 grand. That's $1,000. 1%.
Right. Yep, but it's $1,000. So 10. How long do you think it would take you to earn $10,000? Right, you're earning 1% a day.
As far as they're saying this, roughly 10 days, maybe 11, depending on the fee structure.
Okay, cool. Remember that, and I want everybody else to leave your thoughts down below because we're gonna get into this example, and it is way off. It is not even close to what you just said, and that's why it's so deceptive. Because people think this. Oh, I get in a year, I could put in 10 grand and come out with 36,500.
Just like you probably thought that the first read around.
I was like, oh, interesting, 1% a day.
That's
let me
good
check
yield.
this out.
You're like, there's good yield. If this is perfect, this could be great. But as you see from what you're about to say,
when you actually run the numbers on this, there's like taxes galore.
These guys are frigging savages, dude.
There's taxes like up the wazoo everywhere in this protocol. Okay, so what do we have here? We have $1,000 right now. The drip price, right? Whoops. The drip price is approximately $11. So you get $1,000. You're like, GRC, you put in $1,000 in here, remember? And you're like, cool, I can get 10% in 10 days. I'll take that $100 and I'll put it into Hex, right? You're like, that's maybe the thinking behind it, right? Potentially, or whatever your project of interest is. So when you put money into this protocol, their Faucet, is that what it's called? Yeah, the Faucet, their staking protocol. You pay 10%. So you actually only put in $900 because you're paying 10% tax. And then you earn 1% on top of that. And then if you want to compound this $9 here that you earn every day, you're like, cool, I just set up a residual income of $9 a day, right? Well, if you want to compound that, because you're like, well, what's $9? I would prefer if it was $100 a day. So you're like, I'm going to take this $9 and compound it. Well, there's a compounding tax of 5%.
Damn.
So you only can actually compound $8.55. They take another 45 cents. Okay, you're like, okay, well, I'm earning 1% a day. Maybe that's not that bad. But what if you wanted to? What if you knew by reading through the white paper or watching this video or my video that's going to come out later today on my channel? If you're curious to the deep dive, but you probably won't even want to check it out because you're just like, F this shit after this. But did you know that once you put your money into this Faucet, similar to the Reservoir, it is locked. It is burned. All your tokens are burned. So you can't just take your money out. So now you have to go. Burn. Yeah. So now what happens if you want to earn 10%, right? So this is roughly 10%, right? It's $1,116.73. So this day, where does it come out to be? 95 days later to earn 10%. How many people do you think are going to have the same reaction as you, where it says, I earn 1% a day? Okay, so in 10 days, I'm going to have 10%. In 20 days, I'm going to have 20%. In a month, I'm going to have a 30%. It's
about as
return.
manipulative as it gets.
How fucking deceptive is that shit?
That's extremely deceptive. I mean, because it's about a 9 times less returns than they promise, right? So you're roughly at a 0.9x multiplier to like, I mean, you know what I mean? You're basically making 1% of what they said, roughly. Because if you do 1% of the 1%, that's basically what you're dealing with, because that would be 95 days. That would be 95%.
That's a good point. Yes.
Yeah, so that's crazy. Like that's 1% of what they promised.
It's
Dude, that's crazy. 1% of the 1% that they promised. That's like real bank shit.
this is and it's taxes galore. There's taxes to enter the faucet. There's taxes to exit the faucet. There's taxes to get out of the token. There's taxes to compound. Why the F would anybody put their money in here? Like seriously, why would anybody put their money in here? I was trying to be slightly nicer in my video that I filmed this morning on this, but like, what the F?
I mean, if you really think about it, though, like 95 days for 3%, I mean, for 1%, that means you get 3% every 365.
Well, it's 10%, right? So 10% in 3 months, just over 3 months. 10% in just over 3 months. Cool, awesome. Well, then you should just say you get 10% in 3 months.
Yeah, that wouldn't work though. This system wouldn't even. It wouldn't. They have to have that misleading part of it, or it wouldn't hold legs. But we're gonna invite Funding Jim on here. And we're done with the Drip Network, guys. He has a video out today, later, and where he's going to talk about it. And I just inviting Funding Jim the link. He's going to come in here. We're going to talk about some macro stuff. Sam, we know Ethereum's dropping right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you look, and I'm not going to pull it up, but I'll just talk about it for a second. Bitcoin's at 28.5, down 3% on the daily. But if you look at Ethereum, it's down 12.1% on the daily. And what do we always say, Sam, when we get into these macro, people put their money into less volatile funds. They start moving it. They start switching slowly. Usually it's like one at a time. Like they just start moving their funds over to USDC. And I guess some people use Bitcoin for that same purpose. Just because it doesn't drop as much. Now, if it drops 66% from where it's at, people would be rather upset. And that's what a lot of people are calling for. But that's not the point. The point is protecting yourself in a bear market with your liquid funds. Often you are forced, Sam. You are almost forced by the macro environment to put some of your funds into USDC. One, because you might need them. And two, because the asset you have is going down very fast. So what do you think about that? And before Funding Jim comes on, I'd love to hear your take on the short term. And we're not talking hexakin, cultakin, fucking Bitcoinakin. I don't give a shit anymore. I told people when Hex was at 30 cents that I didn't have that big of a stake in the game. So I was going to talk openly. And I'll say the same thing at fucking 4 cents. Okay.
Well, I think that there's somebody who has a lot more experience than me in terms of cycles. Warren Buffett, right?
Yeah.
So Warren Buffett's interesting in that his company, Berkshire Hathaway, has, a tenth of a trillion dollars sitting in cash. Why? Because this fellow, who's nearly 100 years old at this point, has seen a lot more cycles than I have. He is doing this with his portfolio, right? So he has seen these fluctuations, and you know what happens? You know what happens during a downward trend? We're going through a macro recession, right? We're talking about stagflation, but we're going to go
and hyperinflation at the same time.
8.6%. I think the numbers came out just the other day. 8.6% inflation. 8.6% inflation. Stocks.
That's crazy.
If you look at the annual average for like last 100 years on something similar to S&P 500, maybe 10%. So you're investing in stock thinking that you're staying ahead of inflation? Barely. And so I see Warren Buffett, right? And Warren Buffett has, a tenth of a trillion dollars sitting in cash. Why? Because during times like this, you have massive opportunity to build your bag buying shit at a discount.
Yeah, especially when it goes 97%. And we saw Cardano hit 99% the last time it was bear, and it hit all-time highs again. So I'm not saying, guys, these are volatile assets in general, but we're prepared for this because we learn these things. I understood that long before Hex dropped from 56 cents to where it's at now. I understood because Richard showed me the chart like 50,000 fucking times saying like it's 85% dip. And I was like, I get it. Hey, I get it. Like, I just got it. Like, I'm like, okay, I get it. Okay, I'm going to invite funding on. Let's talk about the macro and whatever funding Jim wants to talk about. Guys, biceps in the chat for funding.
Yeah.
Whoops.
He was there and he wasn't there.
I was a back and forth. I was listening to all the content. What I love about bears, this is going to be a topic I kind of want to reinforce over the next few weeks. What I love about bears is we have been here before. If you've been in crypto, you've been in here before. If you've been in Hex, you've been through several bears inside of just the product of Hex. Dips 85%, this kind of narrative that goes out there. And typically what people focus on in the past couple of years has been, hey, it's only 80 days until the next step up and then it hits an all-time high. Like you see this chart stuff that Gerardo puts out there and says, look, it's only been this amount of time. And everyone just kind of sits, waits on the timer, and then the price moves, right? And it was clockwork for a while. It was like staircase kind of stuff. And, in the background has been, what's going on with the macro economy? What's going on with, the presidential election? What's going on with this particular wealthy person running this particular Fortune 10 company? What did they do? Like, it's been that kind of narrative in the background. But now it seems like the whole world is like, oh, wow, the Fed just raised and it's quantitative tightening, and Graham Stephan and Andre Jick and all these other finance kind of commentary YouTubers just the past 2-3 days. That's all their content. Doom, gloom, everything's miserable. Get ready, right?
Question on that, and I apologize.
Let me use the bathroom real quick. Sorry, guys.
Okay. When you go through and you look at history, and if you use, say, some type of sentiment indicators, as in like, what does mainstream media talk about? Because they're always behind the curve and they're propagating shit that doesn't matter, right? You mentioned Graham Stephan, right, which would be like Financial News Today. There's a Indian dude who does it. Some good stuff that I see on Instagram once in a while. There's like several of those people, right? And if all those are people talking about it, the fake news media is talking about it, and is this the indicator, as in like this is the bottom at this point, we're at the bottom, or do we last in this period for several more months where we're going to continue to see the sentiment continue to increase the veracity at which they're talking shit about like the economy?
Yeah, I mean, again, clicks equals money, influence equals shorting opportunity, right? So you build an audience during the boom times, maybe, if you want to call it that. I think Graham Stephan has been around 5 years as far as a YouTuber, something along those lines. Andre Jick for a little bit more recently than that, 3 or 4 years. Other people that make the social media content versus the big factory style in MSNBC content, right? So the people like the social people I just commented on, they look at the quick ROI. Like I remember Graham made a video about how he leased, I think it was like he got effectively a free Tesla because he did the math about leasing it for $7 a month or something like that. Like he did a whole worksheet, he did a whole preparation, he had video editors make it very digestible and spoon-fed, and the click rate income that he made from that kind of review actually bought him a free one, right? Bought him a free Tesla. So yeah, so that's kind of the point. Is I think that a lot of this is reactionary in general. I think the general sentiment that pays attention to YouTube or spoon-fed Twitter kind of content, they're in some ways they represent the market because there's fear in the market. And stocks change, crypto winter, what's going to happen with World War III, where do you put your money, flight of risk, you're persecuted, all of this victimization of the general public, right? And what I find is, at least psychologically for me, this is my personal truth, I go through waves of depression every few years. I'll go through a wave of like 4 or 5 months of listlessness and like, what am I going to do next in my life kind of thing. And it's always that if I feel that coming on for myself personally, biochemistry, whatever it is, then I have to schedule something to be productive. I say to myself, oh, I need to learn. I can't play a music instrument worth a shit, but I signed up for guitar lessons just because it committed me 2 or 3 days of the week for an hour with an instructor and learn how to play a couple of songs on electric guitar, right? Same sort of thing, a fitness routine. You guys have made it a lifestyle, and you've digested so much knowledge and so many calories and good things to build your bodies, right? So, you know, that kind of curiosity fed your information, and that funnel of information distilled into who you are today, what kind of authority you can be in your space, right? And I think that that's really the message for, I hope Hexicans take up the lead, because they did 2 years ago, right? If you look at some of the earliest content on Telegram, if you were to, you can download the history of all of the Telegram chat. Yeah, so you can download it. It's all of the history, basically. There's ways to do it. You can get an admin to do it if you don't do it, if it's not marked to be public to do so. But I think you can download the whole thing as a just observer, and you should look through the history. It's an interesting trail. Now, again, when it's hundreds of people versus 60,000 people, it's a little bit easier to kind of see what's impacting what, right? In the origin in 2019 kind of era. But you can look through that history. And what I want to point out is Hexologist, as an example, couldn't do Photoshop worth of shit. He came up with interesting meme on occasion, but his graphic skills were terrible, right? And then he did a couple of them that were funnier. People, reposted inside of Telegram, and then he polished them. Like, he became better and better and better. So he took up the skill set. And I remember direct messaging him back then when there was just a few hundred people really in Hex, or even this concept of how to build out Hex. Hex didn't exist yet. This was like in the beginning of 19 or whatever it was. And I remember saying things like, hey, you should make a YouTube channel about how to make a thumbnail, or how to make a meme. I think he actually solicited a few times, like his very first streams, if they're still up, of his channel, were boring as hell, because the tone of his voice was boring, and very just technical about, I wonder what this brush does on Photoshop. Let's see what happens. It was like this experimenting thing, clunky, right? Definitely not polished in all the stuff that he does now, right? But he picked up a skill set. And what was that in 2019? It was still where people were in their bear mentality, and they were, fuck crypto. Ethereum is $130 and it used to be 1,500. I'm depressed. Like, it was that, right?
Yeah.
And that is really where you can help yourself financially by adding arrows into your quiver, adding skills, figure out skills, right? You guys have been doing great on your channel development, both of you. And the content and the engagement and the community that you build is partly because of your skill set that you're accruing, right? You're learning how to interview people. You're looking at how to do critical analysis. You're learning how to take in feedback from your audience and from people that have a counterpoint to you, the opposite of you, right? Without getting butt hurt and block and all the other stuff that we end up doing, kind of sucking our thumbs. Right. You guys are really, really good examples of, the new leadership, I think, inside of Hex.
Thank you. He's trying to butter us up before he gives us the punch. Go ahead.
No, I totally agree with you as far as me and Sam are lucky enough not to come from an internet keyboard warrior kind of place. We never were very aggressive online. We never really thought this is the place where I should get mad at people. So when I made it to Twitter for the first time, it was all that shit. I don't even see it. I don't feel much of it. I'll take a criticism here and there a little too hard, but in general, you just have to realize the competition is not doing as much as I am. So I don't really have to worry so much, because I know what I'm capable of. And I tell everyone every day, I have all day long. I'm willing to spend all day long. and I don't have any kids. So you're wrecked if you think like I won't, I just am in an opportunity to do this right now. And I thought this is where I can be the most impactful. And that's what will make the channel the best too. Like, and that's why I invited Sam on here, because his clinical research is just better than anyone's. Like, he can go through concepts that take people weeks in moments. And that just makes for.
But it's building on what Funding Jim, he's going to get back into the skill set or something. But like the drip section that we just did a little bit on is based upon my skill reading through research papers and this syntax, the vernacular that is put forth in those videos. The first time I was reading through research paper, it took me like 5 or 6 hours. I had no effing idea what they were saying whatsoever. You would see all these terms, remember, like rect, pleb, FOMO, all this stuff in this space, right, that we call crypto, that we have our own like vernacular that we use. Now, think about that times 1,000 in the medical field, read through a research paper, having no clue what you're doing. Every 2 sentences, I'm looking up 5 different words, and then I still don't even understand what that says. So I'm looking up more set. And now I'm just taking that skill set that honed and continued to do in that arena and applying it to crypto to understand white papers. Because I know most people are just not reading through white papers to get a full understanding. It's like they would rather listen to Funding Jim say, hey, you guys should go out and do this. There's a link down below for a referral so I can get some money out of this, but you guys should go check out this network. And they're not taking the time to read through a white paper to get a full understanding of some of these things. I'm reading through twice just because I was like, I just want to make sure I'm fully understanding this and going through all the details of this and then playing it out and thinking it, taking notes down. But I'm building a skill. I'm building this out, and I continue to iterate and get better on it, which Funding Jim is talking about. And I'm assuming you're talking about continuing during these times of bear market to focus on those things where you can build out a skill to get better because they stack over time. Funding Jim, the stuff you're talking about now is because of what he's done over the previous years and decades of learning more and more stuff. Funding Jim, we should, on a complete tangent, but you know how Graham Stephan, I remember when I used to like pay attention to a couple of his videos because there was something Tesla related. I did a similar video about the solar and batteries you can put in your house basically for free if you do it for commercial purposes.
Yep.
Like it's pretty insane. You can I'm going to be putting on solar and batteries, and I actually can get paid cash to do that. Not the tax portion. By the way, structuring the finance in a way, I get a check. That I can deposit into crypto to earn yield. So when I pay a bill in a year, I've got this earnings that are already like, it's just insane to be able to go through and do that. But go ahead and get back into your point and your topic.
Those are excellent points. And again, that's one of the beauties about the Hex community in general is, there is a benefit of making you more successful. And what I'm getting at is when we first started setting our stakes in 2019, when it first launched December 2nd, I remember that first people were saying, okay, here's my staking ladder. And they're showing all kinds of charts of what their staking ladders were. Here's 15 years out. And then I do it annual. And here's, every summer on my birthday, I want to have money coming out. And then you start to see people looking at the graphic of it. And I remember certain people, I'm not going to call them out by name, but they're prominent and they have like daily stakes, right? And then later, Ethereum price changes. You realize, hey, I'm anchored to a laptop. I've always got to be able to unstake so I don't have a bleed out and all these other things. So the crop, if you want to call it the crop of people that learned about Hex in 2020 and 21, what we were saying on those streams, those live streams and such is, hey, this is where I kind of screwed up. Like I did this staking ladder. This probably isn't the best method. You one can buy, and sometimes people are buying cheaper than what other people had staked at. And so you say, you can benefit from my learning curve, right? You can actually be better and faster and maybe become even more wealthy. There's people that are far more wealthy in Hex than I am that I have helped, and they didn't even put in as much capital as I did. But I've helped because their staking ladder is better formed. Their structure and their mentality is more resolved. They have more charts to look at than we did in 2019 because there wasn't any history in 19 about Hex.
I can't even imagine not having all the charts.
Yeah, you have reference points. And so I hear people sometimes get, down in the dumps, like, oh, I bought it 17 cents. I bought it 34 cents. Oh, I'm crying. I'm like, dude, you have like such a knowledge base at your fingertips. And then if you're going to create content, do it about something that has nothing to do with Hex, nothing to do with crypto. I think that the community should 10x because we are engaging people outside of crypto through social media tools. There's never been a better opportunity for you to be a millionaire from your cell phone than in social media now.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what the product is. Doesn't matter what the audience is. All you really need is 1,000 dedicated people. I watched this girl, Dubray or something like that. It's like Charlotte Dubray or something like that. She's funny. And she makes content about stuff she finds on Reddit or TikTok or whatever. She makes funny faces. Her timing and her editing is cute. It's entertaining. It's 10 minutes of entertainment, and it's fucking addictive. Like I'm like, this is gold. Hexagons can learn that same skill set, and they can learn it about something that's not technical and computer and chart and ROI on your money. Entertain yourself by learning a new skill. I play guitar, 2 songs very shittily, but I feel better. Like I feel better because I can do that now, right? That's what you can do during a bear. A bear is you can improve yourself so you can be a better educator or a better reference for other people that are going to be timid, right?
People don't realize that you can create a YouTube channel, and if you're consistent, it works. Like you just have to do it in a certain way. Now, whatever works, it's different for everyone depending on your genre. It's going to be like your growth is going to be different compared to your ROI because genre really makes a difference there. Because like if we were just talking about something that was stupid, but like a lot of people like to be different. But anyway, even before the show, I was talking about Sam about doing a UFC podcast that I wanted to do, like, and being like, I'm like, I could be Joe Rogan. I don't give a fuck. Like, why not? Why not me? I love UFC. I have a great personality. I could do this all day long. People don't realize that it's just opportunity plus time. That's what you like when it comes to stuff like this. And the great part about Hex and crypto is that you can assume, if you do your research well enough, that there are going to be some major gains in Hex at some point, right? Whether that's in 3 years, whether that's in 3 months, whether that's in 5 years. If I work on this stuff now and have an audience, I might not have so much problem with the funding later, but when you have 20,000 people that will ride or die for you, and you sell sweatshirts and cool shit, and then you do programs, and then you do fitness challenges, and then you're doing UFC stuff and whatever. It's like you can make any of this stuff work, but you actually have to do it, and you have to find it within yourself to gain that personal motivation, because that's kind of the game, right? Like if Sam's not motivated in the morning, there's some things that I can do during the day that I can pretty much guarantee I won't be motivated tomorrow.
Yeah.
I will drink. I will have excessive affairs late in the night. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying I know myself. It's not wrong, but it's not. I know that I can one up people by having 10 hours of sleep. I know it. So I do it. I go to bed at 9:30. People don't see me after 9:30 p.m. You know what I mean? And I'm addicted to winning. So I want it. I want to go to bed early. I get excited when I go to bed early. Literally.
No, I it's funny you're saying that about going to bed early, because if I'm going to bed at 10, it's like, man, I was trying to go to bed at 9. And it's that it's like I get excited if I'm in bed by 9 o'clock and I'm reading my book. I'm like, oh, good job.
Nice move, Sam.
You knocked it out today. That's interesting. You're putting it that way, because I feel the same way. I
know dudes with $150 million aren't necessarily going to move like I'm moving, so I better fucking use it while I got it. I got this opportunity to have my back against the wall. I'm going to use it. Like I quit my fucking job. I'm going to use that energy. I'm not going to think about, oh my God, I could have had so much more Hex right now. Oh my God.
Funny, Jim. I want to ask you or talk to you about complacency, because you're in a different spot in your life than I'm at, than GOC is at, and a lot of the people who are watching. And one thing that is pretty evident, the more people you talk to that are just in general but successful people, is that there's like a mountain that once they climb it, like the complacency creeps up, right? And the fire that is the drive or the hunger is satiated at that point to a great degree to still move forward at such a ferocious rate of learning and personal growth and adaptation and skill acquiring. What do you personally do? Like, how do you personally go through and combat that? Because it can be thought of almost as like the gravity of life that you have to, right? That you literally, like, your skin sags as you get older, kind of thing. But the same thing kind of happens to a lot of people as they reach different thresholds. So, like, how do you combat that, right? Because you've had different runs, you've had different experience than we have, and I'm curious to learn how you do it personally.
I mean, me personally, I go through, like I said, these phases where I'll be euphoric and I'll be like charged and pumped over some particular project or some newness that I'm adapting to, like a new area, a new job, a new career, whatever it might be, new social circle. And then I'll go through, personally, again, windows where it's a lull or it's a down, or like you said, you just kind of feel, I feel listless. I'm like, what am I going to do Thursday, right? When you're employed, you have a regular schedule, Monday through Friday. I got to be here from this time to this time doing this kind of task. And then my weekends are this, whatever. You kind of set yourself on a treadmill of routine. But when you're retired, or like Jim Rat, he's got a commitment every day at 11 o'clock. He's got a commitment, right? He's got some preparation. He has a conversation with you before the show about what the topics might be or whatever, or some research or something that you might have pulled up together. So we do have routines. We set routines. And I think that that's helpful. It's helpful to have routines. I don't think you should be owned by anything, owned by your alarm clock, owned by another person. I think you should find it in yourself to be self-motivated. But that's really what I was saying is like, right. So my schedule right now, I on the 13th, I fly internationally. I'll be in Switzerland. There's a big art event there. I'm not into art that much. I mean, I like art as far as go to museums and things like that, but it's not like I'm buying and trading in the art business. But it's super affluent people, great network. And a friend of mine has invited me to go, and he's going to give me tickets to special access stuff. So I'm flying internationally just to go to an art event in Switzerland. And what does that do? If I hadn't read Dale Carnegie books, if I didn't refresh every so often on how to win friends, influence people, how to network, how to do like the more plates, more dates guy that Jim Rat always references, both of you reference, he learns skills of communicating. He learns some specialty niche that allows him to be an authority in a space, right? So if there's a conversation that he's having, he can talk about hair growth or, muscle factors and all these other kinds of things, right? He can talk about those things. He's an authority in the space. I think that people should become an authority in the space that you're actually curious about. An authority, not just a parrot, an authority. Figure out how you can be a thought leader in some particular space, how to refinish a particular type of furniture, how to restore a car, how to, figure out something that you have a skill set to a community, whether you have the community now or not, and then develop the community, because there's people on the internet that are curious about what you can be an authority in, right? You can be an authority on how to make Captain America shields. There's a guy that has millions of followers, some kind of like, he makes all of the things that you see in Marvel movies or whatever. And that guy's got, he's a huge business, I think, in Canada. Figure out something that gives you drive. That's the thing for me. Every so often I remake myself. I've remade myself 4 or 5 times. And I think it's worthwhile. I think it's I forgot who the quote is. It's something like the unexamined life isn't worth living. Like, you need to examine yourself every so often and say, what am I doing? What skills do I have now? How am I stagnating? How can I improve? What can I do? Like,
Well, where do you draw the line to start making those changes? Oh, sorry.
Well, I go to Switzerland, then I come back on the 19th, then I go to Bali, or actually then I'm here in Miami again because Rebel Capitalist 3 is happening. So I'll be at George Gammon's event, 800 people. In the audience, they probably control $3 or $4 billion worth of real estate and different stock companies and things like that. great networking opportunity. The very first one that I went to a year and a half ago, I think, I brought Crypto Coffee, right? He flew down from Chicago and the two of us networked, and I made a lot of inroads that led to stuff that you guys now have seen. So if you saw the Hex meetup in Las Vegas, that film content was because Matt, the guy I met at Rebel Capitalist, became our videographer. Big Kurkowski and I sponsored him, paid like 17 grand for him to come out and film all that content for Hexicans, right? We didn't charge anything for that stuff. That was us trying to build a community, trying to give content, right? And that was the origin stuff. The same sort of thing, like your networking skills should be outside of crypto and deployed. Talk to people that are in your community, talking about things that you like to talk about. And in the background, you can have like Jim Rat does with his logos and things like that in the background. People just naturally become curious. They're like, what is that stuff that's back there? I know you're talking about my physical well-being or my nutrition or whatever it is you like to talk about with your social click. But I think that more Hexicans need to be doing that. Too many of us are looking at charts. Too many of us are paying attention to the finance world. Do your actual life.
I always tell people, I'm like, wouldn't it be better if Jim Rat had 750,000 subscribers for Hex? Dependent on how I got to that point.
Yeah.
Independent. Absolutely. Whether I talked about Colt, whether I talked about bodybuilding, whether I talked about fixing cars. Yeah. If I get to the point where I have 750,000 followers and I'm a Hexican, that's where my yield is coming from, you know, that's my, for all my investments. It's like that will translate because then there's 150,000 people with $1 million that want to talk to me.
Yeah. And then you can actually filter out the commentary because of the commentary way people like, yeah, of course you can do it. Like, look how much knowledge you have about health and fitness. Look, you can say, well, look at this fucking journey, dude. I've been doing this for 3 years. Remember when I had 10 subscribers? Now I've got 750,000, right?
I've never made it in life. So like, I'm 28 years. I mean, I had money in a house, but like, I never like made anything happen in my opinion. So that's what that's what I wanted.
I know about that, dude. How many
you know that, well, you know what I mean? Like as far as the public narrative,
wait. How many people do you know that own their house that rental arbitrage and someone else is paying for it, right? You're living free.
But I have also, like, just like we were saying, I went out of my way to take roughly 11 paid courses over the last 5 years that cost me a lot of money. Okay. So like I was working like crazy. Now I didn't make it like I didn't go to school, so I wasn't certain what was going on. I was making a lot of, I already knew that making money had nothing to do with all that, but I had not really established my creativity in the way that I think was ready to be deployed. And I think that's what this opportunity gave, because let's be honest, in crypto, there's no one that looks into anything. So I just knew, just like more dates knew that nobody looks into DMT. I mean, all the hair factor stuff, all of the testosterone stuff, only very few people look into it. He said, if I become somebody who knows more than everyone about this subject, that will automatically translate into respect and into business opportunity with guys. Like, I talk to dudes with hundreds of millions of dollars every day, and I don't even like, you know, it's just normal because I put myself in a position where they want to talk to me because they know I will work. I will work endlessly. Like, and they see it in me. So they're like, oh, this guy's a good guy to have around, because I know in 5 years, this kid's going to be head down working still probably. So I'm like a good guy to hedge your bets on too. So it's just about putting yourself in that position. People don't think about their reputation enough. And that's what you should really be harnessing. Like, don't pick up pennies in front of a freight train, you know, punch a little bit harder, like punch over your weight class. I just started this channel because I didn't like a lot of the Hex content personally. Now I'm a weird guy, but I liked more plates, more dates, where he was like, this equals this. And then if you go back here, that equals that. And then if you combine those things, you have the answer. And I was like, that I can relate to. Sam's content I could relate to. He was reading. So, and, you know, I was in the pharmacology, bodybuilding industry research kind of thing. Like, that's what I was researching in my free time. And I realized 99.9% of people don't know what they're talking about. But when I started, I thought everyone knew what they were talking about. And this is the same thing with crypto. It's like I'm coming to the point where it's like, yeah, there's 1% of guys I can reach out to that definitely know what they're talking about. But Sam, 99%, if somebody spats off something random on Twitter, I usually don't listen to it because I don't think it's correct.
And there's a lot of people who would much rather, using the word that Funny Jim said earlier, parrot somebody else's thoughts and opinions on something than take the time to form their own opinions. Because if you think about forming your own opinion, that's actually a form of work, right? It's a form of energy expenditure. And when you take the time to go look at something yourself, and maybe that's reading a white paper, maybe it's diving into whatever specialty you find interesting, and you form your own opinions about that, that's a form of like effort that is put out there, and that continued effort over time is what like allows you to build that community, because people are seeing that you have shit that most people don't have in terms of that expertise of clipping toenails or whatever the thing is that you find interesting. And I love the skills, and I love the stacking of skills, because you can create this skill around XYZ, and one way to think about a skill is a framework. So if you're building something out, think of how you can take whatever you're building out and break it into 3 or 4 parts, and be like, instead of just laying out this is what you're doing, take that thing and break it into 4 parts, because it's so much easier mentally for people to grasp. If you're like, this thing is 4 parts and this is going to help you explain blah blah blah, and what you do is you build up the skill of whether it's guitar, right? You like, I know nothing about guitar playing, but there's probably something that you could categorize into 3 to 5 steps. Learning guitar, 3 to 5 steps, or whatever the case is, and you break it down into your framework, which is just different than somebody else. You look at everybody who says get rich quick in fucking 3 steps, or this, that, and the other thing. Literally, they're just taking it down into a package that they can go out and sell to people. But you can do these things, and you can stack the skills on top of each other as you continue to learn new skills. And this skill here allows me to have a different perspective and or learn faster or more quickly of this next skill, because I'm layering them on top of each other. And this aggregation, I have this saying in my personal life, the aggregation of marginal gains over time, right? We hear the saying that Albert Einstein is the 8th wonder of the world is compound interest. Well, when you think about that, most people think about financially, right? Compounding interest, right? Daily, monthly, whatever your thing is, compound interest is tremendously powerful. Well, what if you look and you put the mirror in front of you and you look at compound interest for yourself? How I see that is the aggregation. That's just the adding up or the summation of your individual gains. The marginal is just like that next thing. So the aggregation of marginal gains over time is so incredibly tremendous. Like we've all probably all heard the math or seen it somewhere. If you get 1% better on every area of your life, it's 10% here, or like a fraction of 1% here, a fraction of 1% here, and that adds up to your life of 1% better every single day. That's like 3,700x or something, or a tremendous big increase in your life. And I love what you're talking about, the skills. There's always so much cool stuff out there that we can learn or look into or appreciate or get a different perspective or expand our network. Even if I don't learn the skill through 1,000%, I now understand that there's these 17 people who are ninja as fuck in this area, that if I ever have questions, or somebody else that I know has questions about this, I'm like, I know somebody who you can talk to about real estate. Funny Jim, he's a ninja when he comes to stuff and knows a ton of people in the industry. You have a question, probably in 3 seconds, he'll be able to answer your question and point you in a direction for a resource. Like super, super powerful. So how are you doing with this, the macro environment of, we're going into, like, we're in a recession basically for a lot of people, but we're going into this, inflation's 9% nearly. And how are you dealing, or how are you thinking about this? Because I'm curious to
So me personally, my new task, like I said, I'm going to do this Switzerland thing. I'm going to come back. I'm going to go to this event in Miami. I have a different event with real estate in Bali before long. I'm going to meet Steph from, he's going to be there at the same time frame, Steph from Staker app. Then I come back to Puerto Rico. And when I'm in Puerto Rico, I'm going to launch new channels. and they're going to be nothing to do with crypto. They're going to be basically credit, real estate, finance, set up your LLC, set up your entity. How do you video edit? Like there's certain things that I mean, not certain things. There's a shitload of stuff that you guys already are advanced in that I'm not, but I need to do it. Like I need to do it for my own, pass the time, accrue a skill set, learn how to monetize content that I absorb, distill, analyze, and then put back out there into the world, right? So if you're going to learn, let's say as an example, how to play guitar, they say that it takes around 2,000 hours for you to learn a new language super proficiently, 2,000 hours to learn a new musical instrument super proficiently, and then you can teach other people. That's the thing. So I want 2022, whether it's bull, bear, whatever happens as far as the chart in the background, I'm going to do the same thing that I'm hoping other people will take up as a mantle. If you're going to represent Hex by making commentary, whether it's anonymous or not on Twitter, anonymous or not on YouTube, kind of comment sections, learn something. Learn something that you can add value. Don't just be a parrot. Don't just echo. Learn something so that you can teach something. I was a medic in the Marine Corps, and when the Marines need to learn something, we have something called a TMI. Sounds like too much information, but it's a 10-minute instruction. And it means within 10 minutes, I need to get across the idea about why you need to wash your hands after you use a toilet. How do you build out a latrine? Why do you count to 3 before you throw the hand grenade? I mean, there's 10-minute instructions, and these little bits, these little clips are very useful. They lock into the brain differently. And so my content that I'm going to start creating when I come back, which is July 8th or something like that, that's really what it's going to be. Separate channel, still going to link over to Funding Gem, still going to comment about it inside of Twitter and things like that. But how do you start a new Instagram? How do you start a new Twitter? How do you start a new public commentary and build your audience? Because every one of us should have 1,000 people following you, not just crypto, and not because you're a Hexagon. I even don't like this. I see it on Twitter often, which again, I understand why people are trying to do it, but they'll start a Twitter and then they'll say, hey, who haven't I followed? If you'll follow me, I'll follow you back. No, do have a 20-to-1 ratio, in my opinion, about how many people you follow and what information funnel you're sucking from, so that you're regurgitating or putting out new information to others. I think that all of us should have a 20-to-1 ratio at the most. Richard does. He's got 200,000 people following him, right? But he only follows 1,200, something like that. I haven't looked at the numbers recently, but I think it should be the same thing. Add value. So add value by accruing a skill set, learning something that you can reteach, help other people. I help. It's not just through financial support kind of things, but this as an example. The fashion coder girl, young girl, whatever. She started making some content recently or whatever. I told her, you need to start a Patreon. Why? So that you can teach other people how to do a Patreon and how you can get market signals. That's what this whole thing is about. The marketplace, bears are useful. They are useful because they clear out malinvestment, misinvestment, bad information, companies that don't provide value to the audiences that consume them. That's the purpose of a bear. There's a reason that the stock market collapsed, because 95% of it in 2000, whatever, when the tech bubble crashed in the 90s, was bullshit and terrible. And it was just money that was thrown like a dart at a board. And those don't really provide utility to the audiences. They don't provide service or goods to the audience. The same thing needs to happen inside of crypto. There needs to be a fucking raging fire that burns out 95% of the crap that takes people's money and delivers no value. I believe in that process. And so what I'm saying is the same thing with the voices that we hear. We do hear a Data Dash. Data Dash has 300,000 or 400,000 followers that follow all of his crypto. BitBoy has 1 to 2 million people, or however many people follow his content. There's people that are quote unquote influencers that we get hateful on. We're why isn't this influencer talking about me? Meh. Be a fucking influencer. Put your values out there. Here's where I draw the line. It has to be no admin key. It has to be This is the mechanism. It has to have no hidden taxes that are, buried under white paper that nobody's going to read.
This is what we're like. I shifted over the past probably 2 to 3 weeks because I enjoy learning about these projects, but bringing this forth, like, cool, you can make content about X, and then you're like, okay, X is down, and what, like, you know what I mean? You could be creative and resourceful if you want to make specifically X content, cool. But I think what I noticed when I reached out to different communities on Twitter, my growth rate on Twitter actually increased, right? Because I got into other communities, right? SHIB, ADA, Solana, Call, and 2 or 3 other ones. And you're like, oh, my growth rate actually increased. I'm going to start doing topics on every other crypto so that I get to see what garbage looks like. But also I'm able to touch into those communities. There's also golden nuggets. There's diamonds out there that we're just not aware of. Too at the same time, but utilizing that type of thing to expand to be the influence, because then what are people going to look for? They're going to look at that content and think that, like, oh, this guy's seen 1,000 projects. He knows what's good versus what's bad. Right. He pays attention to literally what you just said. No admin keys, this thing, and this thing, right? Like, that's a good framework that you can build out and be like, here are the 4 things that every single project should have, kind of thing, to take a look at or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you do this in the military. You have like a briefing about what is the mission, what are you trying to accomplish, right? Here's the timeline, here's the resources, here's how many people, here's the hill that you need to take in a war campaign or something like that, right? So you have a mission statement. And then that transfers over, that phrasing trans over to corporate America. What is our mission? What is our direction? What are we trying to achieve? And I think that people, inside of Hex, every so often we have to distill, and there's people that will exit out of, whether it's Hex or crypto altogether or whatever it is, they'll exit out. They'll be like, I'm never going to touch that shit again, or whatever it is during bears. That happens every time there's a culling, right? And then there are people that come in with euphoria and, hey, I just arrived. I'm going to change everything. Look, like they have this super energy, right? And the tempered ones, the ones that stick around, the ones that accrue skills and kind of have seen these trends before, they're the ones that really, really reap the benefit. They really, really reap the benefit because they are personally better. Their skill set is better. They can apply that skill to any kind of marketplace, right? Their analysis is better. I'll give a quick story about, like, my mom. I'm reasonably intelligent, but I'm not some 145 or whatever it is that Richard says about IQ stuff. I'm not that. But when I was 12 years old, my mom, she got this book somewhere. It was like how to IQ test your kid or something like that. And she came to me on a Saturday and she said, hey, I want you to do this test. It's a book. You got to go through the questions. The book says it's going to take 2 hours. It's a 2-hour timeline or limit on it. And I want you to sit down and take this test. And I was mad. I was so mad because I was 12. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to go play with my friends. I don't want to. Homework is for at school. Like, I was shitty at doing homework. Like, I got an assignment. I didn't do it whenever 99% of the time. Right. So my scores in, like, elementary and high school were not good because I never did homework. I thought it was dumb. If I can regurgitate or tell the information or give an analysis to a teacher in the classroom, I didn't think that there was utility in doing it at home too, just wasting my time. That was my mentality. And so my mom gives me this test and she says I had to do it. And I was like, I don't want to. And then she's put her foot down, says, no, you can't go out until you do it. So she put a timer, sat me down and told me to go to my room. I sat in my room. I didn't have any resources like encyclopedias or anything like that. And I come out after about 30 or 45 minutes and I filled out all the paper. All of the marks were made, right? And little descriptions about how to answer the question. And my mom's like, that's dumb. You can't have done that. It's the test says it takes 2 hours. You only took 30 minutes. That's not right. And I was like, well, I did it. I did what you told me to do. And then she let me go and I go play with my friends. I come back a few hours later, 5 or 6 hours later, and my mom is actually on the phone talking to my grandmother. And she's like all excited, euphoric on the phone. She's like, he's a genius. He's a genius. And like all this stuff talking to my grandmother to overhear. And I walk in and she says, oh, he's here. And then she hangs up and she says, hey, I wanted to go over the test with you. You got like really great scores, good scores. I was curious. The second question, how did you come up with the answer? was like, this train leaves from this station, this distance from this train leaving at this station. Where do they meet in the middle? They're going different speeds. And I did like this little explanation thing, right? It wasn't that hard, but I did explain it reasonably. And my mom accepted that answer. And then I went on to the next thing, the 12th question. It was some other thing. It was a comparable. Something I do really well with is this is like this because, like, I like that kind of analogy to describe my world. So I do that to her. And then she goes to like the third thing that she didn't know the answer to and is asking me I'm a 12-year-old. She's asking me what's the answer, right? And I said, well, it's I couldn't figure that one out. So I just flipped to the back of the book. The answers are all in the back of the book. She says, what? I said, well, all of the answers are back here. They're in the index, like the answers, right? And she says, well, how many of these questions did you answer there by using that? And I said, I don't know, like half, maybe. So my point is, you don't have to be super smart. You just have to know where to find the valid information. Like when Sam comes on and he says, hey guys, did you know this thing that's onboarding all kinds of people into this particular crypto product? Did you know that when you do the math and when you look at the taxes in and out, you actually only yield, 0.000% per day or whatever it was you were talking about earlier, right? When you do
0.01%, advertises 1%, you get close to 0.01%.
Yeah. So the propaganda that gets people on the funnel is a completely different thing than the actual yield, right? But they are covered legally, if you want to call it legally, by putting it into the white paper, by telling you this is the mechanism, this is what happens. But you run the math, right? You actually look at that information. What percentage of people that are participating actually did that? Almost none.
Probably zero, close to zero.
Right. So it becomes a big thing. People kick themselves and they say, oh, crypto's a scam. But then the legalese, the technical says, no, it was always there. Like it was always there. It always was telling you, you just didn't do it, right? You didn't do the work, right? So that's the point is there are so many tools available to people to become fucking rich in a bear market, especially as connected as we are on the internet.
Yep.
As many tools that are out there. And
getting rich, getting rich, period. Like, yeah, period. Like, there's just too much of a source.
You can provide an honest service or product. You do not have to fucking scam people. You do not. You can provide an honest skill set. You can develop an honest skill set, deliver a honest product or service that people will happily give over their money for. Richard has a video about this. They would happily give you their money if you provide a service or good that is worth it. It's all it takes, man.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, so after this, I'm gonna be getting off here in a minute, and I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm gonna eat something, and then I'm literally gonna go for a walk and do my cardio. And I can use my phone and do my work while I do my walk. And it's just literally going through and providing value to people through what I'm doing, right? And so I've been doing this on Facebook. It's super easy to get customers that way. And how do you get customers? It's not like, hey, Funny Jim, will you buy my shit? No. Oh, hey, GRC, will you buy my shit? No. Okay. It's like, hey, what is your problem? What are you trying to achieve? Okay, well, maybe this would help you. Not even if it's something that I nothing to do with me. Hey, this is valuable information because I've been doing this for 2 fucking decades. Yep. Maybe you should check it out. And because you just give valuable information away for free, some percentage of those people are like, that makes sense. That's good. That's good information. Let me check out who this person is, right? And it's so easy to do that when you shift that mindset to just providing value in the marketplace. And but it took me a while, in all honesty, to try to figure that out. Like it's always been there, but it took me a while to understand how to provide value. Because I used to have a landscape business, and I would hire people, and I try to make it into a game, as in hey, every day we try to see who can provide the most value to the customers by going above and beyond what we tell them they're going to do, right? And whoever does the most, and you get a reward or something, some sort or whatever. And a lot of people don't understand how to provide value, or maybe they're just not searching for it. But because they hear this cliche, you got to provide value, but there's a lot of people who just don't even understand how. They're like, what do I need to do to provide value? And I think I think we should have a deeper discussion about how to provide value, because not like you talk about it, and somebody who's been doing this for a while, like you've been successful in your arena to some degree, at least for a long time. And it happens by continually providing value in the marketplace. But a lot of people don't understand how to do that. Like, what do they need to do to provide value? Because I'll tell somebody that, and then they're just like eyes glaze over, and they don't have any effing idea what I just said. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's hard to some degree because we are marketed to all the time with TikTok, live, YouTube live, or whatever it is. Not live, the ones that you scroll through 1,000 times.
Real.
You're like, oh yeah, this entertained me for 4 seconds. Let me just have another. Let me just have another. Let me just have another. And then you waste away an hour, and you're like, what did I get out of that? Like, you know, I got my little dopamine release from watching some person dance, or you know, and lip sync. And then, you know, like, what did you actually deliver to the world or to yourself? Like, did you learn something out of that? Did you get something out of that? Do you have something that you can put into your pouch and pull out at a different day and say, this is a tool I accrued today? No, like I think that like 90% of social media serves no real good. It's infotainment maybe, or it's entertainment maybe. And I have the guilty pleasure of it too. Like I sit there, but I have to put, like, for me, I have to put a timer. I have to say, okay, I wake up, rub the shit out of my eye, and, you know, look at the sun, and like, all right, and I turn on my phone and see what's on Twitter. I'm gonna scroll through, this on Instagram. This is entertaining or whatever. And if you don't put a timer on it, if you don't like put a cap on it, you know, a top, you're like, okay, I'm done for the day. Like, I'm not gonna look at shit else, right? If you don't prioritize, if you don't triage, you'll just waste away. And you'll be like, at the end of it, it's like these people that try to lose weight, you know, like they're like, it's hard. It is hard. I know it's hard. It is hard, but we're creatures of habit. And you have to change habit. Like, our habit needs to be about, like, you don't have to go cold turkey. You can replace little bits, like 20 minutes on your Instagram. Don't do more than that. Like, you know, change your habits. And I think that we can be an amazing leader in the crypto space because we do have an amazing product. And I've said this also recently on streams, is people are bitching about Richard Hart twerking or wearing clown rich clothes or whatever it is, right? The gladiator only makes so much fucking noise. The audience of 50,000 Romans are really what you hear. So when we are constantly saying, or anybody is saying, oh, Richard this, Richard that, or whatever, be a louder fucking voice. Do something that's different. Make some other kind of content or contribution. Do something useful, right? Highlight stuff that Richard's not highlighting at this moment, right? Because he is trying to get eyeballs. And it's all great that we clap and support or whatever we are about his effort, but do your own. Do your own separate thing. Nothing to do with, don't emulate, don't copy. Be a voice in the space, because that's where you get your respect. You get your respect from being something counter. You can be 50,000 Romans are heard throughout Rome. The gladiator is not. The gladiator's not.
I think this is a good time to wrap up. I just wanted to remind everyone, if you were freaking out, this chart's pretty effing lit, in my opinion. I like where it's headed. You know, just you guys got to be a little bit more creative.
What is this? Is this recent? So
this
it was
all
down.
time. This is all-time hex chart.
Oh, okay.
It's just log chart. So this is the way the chart would actually look if you looked at kind of properly. So you're looking at a damn good chart, guys. Like, I mean, this trajectory, very good.
Yeah. This is, and again, these are because price is simply the meeting point between supply and demand. That's all it is, supply and demand. There is supply. People are selling supply to some degree. You can see it moving the price. But the demand, a lot of people are just they've been holding their breath for a long time. Pulse chain, right? Look at your effort or anybody else's effort to actually onboard new people, because Ethereum gas is not expensive now by comparison to what it was. To buy $1,000 worth of hex is like $8 worth of Ethereum cost, right? That's what it costs, right? And, you know, we don't see those numbers because really We've been talking about pulse chain, pulse X. We've been talking about all these other things. Been sitting on bated breath, dry powder, locked in, tweet polls, whatever it is. Like, you know, it is what it is, and the chart will change. It will change. And then people will cry, says, oh, if only it would go back to 5 cents. It's 80 cents now. And if only it was 5 cents, I would have bought more. Fuck you. You sat there and didn't do shit. You sat there and sucked your thumb and, you know, whined about it. And then when it's 80 cents, you're going to kick yourself again. You know?
Yep. Risk management, you got to put the amount of money in that you can imagine not having anymore. And that's what people just don't like doing. You know,
Yep.
they really hate putting money in there that they don't need because they don't have any money they don't need because they're not making enough money. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Let's be
Yep.
honest. And with Hex, it's like, come on, guys, you're taking care of a lot of your portfolio.
Yeah, and again, learn a new skill set to earn some money. Don't go. I don't think that people should be all in, over leveraged, sit there crying because it didn't move within 30 days to where they thought the price should be. Like, don't do that, dude. What you should do, in my opinion, is either increase your hourly income by doing something differently than what you do now, or by adding a side or extra hustle or a gig or whatever it is. Deliver value to an audience, right? That's, you know, preferably not crypto because it is volatile. Both the audience is fickle and they're sunshine kind of friends and everybody's here because everything's great, or they all disappear because it's bear market and I don't like you anymore. Like, that's the nature of crypto in general. But the money that I made in Hex was because I took margin effort, or I took part of my margin from rental income. And instead of it going to my lifestyle car, dates, or whatever it was speculating. It was speculating on this Hex product. I've got all kinds of detail inside my YouTube channels about putting over $1 million into of my money, like not crypto money, like my earning money, like how I make money. Into crypto, into Hex, right? So people can do the same thing. They can learn some new skill set. They can deliver value to their audience, whatever that audience might be. They can, you know, everybody that you look at on social media that is worth something money-wise, they all started from nothing, dude. Like Logan Paul, $100 million per year is what he makes, right? He did stupid shit on YouTube. That's how he got there. PewDiePie, super rich guy. He just did stupid shit on YouTube. That's all he did, right? So there's a lot of people that just need to pick up a skill set, separate themselves from the other 1,000 people that they're in line with, and step forward. Like, do something, learn something.
And one of the biggest ways that you can set yourself up, because a lot of people are scared because they're like, I don't know how to talk about this thing because I'm so new, right? Well, the best way you can set yourself up to be the authority in that thing is by showing that fuck up every day.
Yeah.
Simple.
No, that'll get you away from 90% of the people too, because 90% of the people don't be showing up. I promise you that. And they say they show up. It's always the people that say they show up. I'm like, I don't talk about my shit. Everyone knows I'm going to show up. Like, there's not a person that could call me and not know exactly what I'm going to do. I don't have to tell them because I've done it for 10 years. I've shown up. You know what I mean? Like, I've always been someone who was timely. I've always been someone who said, if you're 15 minutes late, that's rude. That's how I operate because of my personality. And people respect me because they're like, he'll never stop. And he shows it every single day. And that's where you earn respect, because it's not, people know what it takes to do something every day. I don't always feel like talking about Drip Network. I don't always feel like talking about whatever, but I'm trying to educate myself to the point where I'm an authority. People will listen to me, but I have to get to that point, right? And it takes over and over again to separate yourself. I watched it happen in the fitness industry. Everyone told me what I could and couldn't do. And I said, I'm going to just do it more than you forever and just wait. Like I will put myself in a position where I can't lose because I will do it forever. And I know myself. But anyway, guys, just remember, you got to look for your passions, what you're good at. I'm not good at certain things, but I know how to outsource help as well. I'm very, people want to work with me because of my reputation, because they think, okay, he's going to show up and work hard. That's what people that are rich want. Or that have a lot going on. They want people that they know are going to work hard and show up, because that is very hard to find, and trust, of course. Guys, any closing words before we wrap up?
Had fun, Jim.
Just follow Twitter. I really only promote Twitter. You can direct message me if it's Telegram. I'm going to be remaking my website. I'm going to be doing something completely different as far as the Funding Gym website and such. Be careful again with the social media imposters. I probably have gotten about 100 messages from my followers on Instagram. Hey, this person's trying to like ask me about my crypto trading or something like that. It's got to be the proper spelling. And actually, it freaked me out a little bit because I saw one that it looked like it was spelled correctly. It looked like everything was correct. And I was like, hey, that's not me. What character in a foreign language looks like it's an I instead of the real I or something? Like I was going through it. I was like, how is this possible? So be careful out there. I never ask any kind of money whatsoever through any kind of social media if it's out there. WhatsApp, none of that kind of stuff like that. Nothing. I don't need anybody's money. If I'm going to have a deal and it's going to be finance, it's going to be related to real estate and it's going to be nothing to do with crypto. But that's not my audience. My point is make sure you know who you're talking with. And I think that you should, if you're going to engage with someone, always require video confirmation. They should say your name, that the video that you receive should say, hey, Charles, how's it going? I'm Gary. Like that's the way I interact with people. But yeah, double check because there's a lot of imposters going on right now on the different social media platforms.
Yeah, it's really ruining Instagram for me, to be honest. I'm trying to get that blue check mark as fast as possible. Anyone who knows how to get that blue check mark faster, please hit me up because I just want that to be done because if I have to answer one more message about I'm like, why would I put an exclamation point? You know what I mean? Like, I know it so intimately that I hate when people ask me about it now because I'm like, but there are people in your friends group that probably will get do whatever hack they do or whatever they do. Anyway, guys, Crypto in the Morning here every day at 11 a.m. Eastern. I've been talking to producer Bullish about starting another channel that was separate. This morning, I was actually talking to him about that. Between two categories, I don't really want to talk about it yet because I want to think about it more, but it's funny because we were thinking on the similar. I was like, why not? This shit's popping right now. This shit's not popping. I could still do this every day, but like, there's some audience out there that I could grab from something else that I'm very passionate about. So that's what I was thinking about, guys. Every day at 11 a.m. Eastern, smash it, like, share it out.
6 p.m. tonight, going live with somebody who is also a Hexagon OG, but they are super excited about the development that is happening on Bitcoin. So
Whose channel?
Tune my channel tonight, 6 p.m.
Sam's channel, 6 p.m., guys. Going on with the
Link
Bitcoin
in the
guy,
bio.
Lightning Network, link in bio. Check him out on Twitter. Check Funding Jim on Twitter. I'm Jim Rat Crypto on everything, guys. I've been pumping on Instagram, so help me out over there. Go follow me, guys. Have a great day. I'll talk to y'all soon. Let's play some music.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hex and I'm making a stake. Got me some hydro, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim Rat sent me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning.